Hello guys, welcome to another session. In this session we are going to look into class inheritance. So let's look into the topics. What are the topics we are going to cover in class inheritance? So let's jump into the discussion. So here we are going to look into class inheritance. So what are the topics we are going to cover? We will discuss about the inheritance, what is inheritance, and we will look into the code, how to achieve inheritance within Python programming. So basically what we have discussed earlier, that inheritance is a core feature of object-oriented programming, and it allows one class to inherit data or behavior from another class. We can reuse the existing code. So to understand it better, let's jump into the Spider editor, and there we will create two classes. First class we will create the person class that will be inherited by another class called employee class, and we will see that how employee class inherit the person class, and we will also look into how an inherited class create the objects. So let's jump into the Spider terminal and we will write some program. So we are into a Spider terminal. So let's write the person class again, and we will also create another class called employee, and within employee class we will inherit the person class. So let's look into that now. But prior to that, I wanted to show you what we are going to create. So we are going to create over here with this structure where we are going to create a person class that is going to be a super class for employee, and then we will create the employee class, and that this employee class being inherited by the salesperson class. So this is the subclass. So we are going to design three classes. The very first instance we will create the person class, then we will create employee class, and then we will create salesperson class, and salesperson will inherit employee class and employee class inherit person class. So let's jump into the editor and we will start writing the code. So now here we will write the code, create how we can create the class. You remember that we will use a keyword called class, and here we will define this. We are going to create the constructor. To create constructor we use init method, if you remember that, and within that we are going to pass a self variable and name and age, if you remember it. Now we will create self dot name equal to name, and here self dot age equal to age. So we have created, and we are going to create a method called birthday. If you remember that, we have created this as well earlier, and here we are going to pass that self. Why we are passing the self? Because it is associated with the instance of this class that is called object. So we will print the birthday. If you remember that, happy birthday you were, and here we need to type, then we can access the age, and after that we will increment the age and we will increment by 1. We will print that you are now self.age. So this is the way we have created the person class. Now we will create the employee class which will inherit this person class. To how to do that? So if you remember that, I have shown you the syntax. We will use that syntax, employee, and here we need to specify the base class which is going to be inherited within this class. So here we pass the person class, and then again we need to initialize the constructor. So this is a little tricky. We need to pass three variables over here. Why? Because this will be passed to super class, that is person. So we need to pass name. Suppose that if you are creating an employee object, then we need to pass the name of the employee, age of the employee, and the ID, and this name will be passed to the person class. So how do we can pass or initialize the person class from the inherited class? We will use the keyword super, and for that now here we are accessing the constructor of the base class, and now we are passing over here name and age, and here we are assigning the ID of this class. So see here, this is really interesting over here. Whenever we are creating an object of person class, we need to pass the name and the age. But suppose if you are creating an employee object and where we need to pass the value name and age, so how do we can pass it? We will use super keyword over here. So super, with the help of super we are able to access the base class, and there we can initialize this object which required to have name and age. For the constructor we need to pass with the help of super keyword. So just remember it. Now moving further, we are going to define an instance method. And how do we can create instance method? Create with, again, def calculate underscore pay, and here we need to pass self hours underscore work, then to tell rate of pay, define a variable, some value 8.50, self dot age is greater than some dummy logic I am providing it, plus equal to 50. Here we will return that, return hours work to rate of pay. So this is another class we have defined. Here we have a typo error was there. So now we are going to create third class, that is called salesperson. So this is going to inherit this employee class. So let's look into that, salesperson employee, and here we are going to define the constructor for salesperson class. To do that, again we will use the init method, and here again we need to pass name, age, ID, region, and sales. And now we can pass the value to the constructor, their base class constructor. How to do that? We will use super keyword init name. Here we will pass name, age, ID, and then self dot region equal to region, and self dot sales equal to sales. Now we will define another method, dummy method, something called bonus, and here that doesn't contain any parameter, and it will return self dot sale to. So now we have created three classes. The first class we have created person, then we have created employee class, which inherits person class, then we have created salesperson, which inherits employee class. Now we will create object of all these three class, and we will look into that how do we can initialize those objects. So moving further, and let's create here, create objects of classes. So to do that, we will start again, print, we are going to write some value person, and here we are going to create an object p equal to person. I will use my name, and here my age, and here we can print it p. Now we have to format it. If you remember the syntax I had told you in the part 2, suppose that if you want to print any character number of times, then you can multiply it with those number of times, so it will format this sign. Now we have created over here the person object. Now we will create the employee object. To do that, we are going to call it as the employee. We will print something, and here we will create an object e and pass it employee. Here we will pass Monica and the name of the and the age. We have to pass the age as well. So here we will pass 28 and the ID. Some value we need to pass over here. Now we can access the birthday. Now we will print call the, see here we are accessing the birthday method of person class, which is accessible from this object. Why? Because we have inherited person class over here. So now we need to tell that some method e dot calculate pay, some 40 we need to pass. Now we will print it here, calculate pay 40. So now we are creating the salesperson object. So here we need to pass the value. We need to pass it the value UK, some value over here. Now so the name of the person, salesperson it is. Now moving further, and we will call it as dot birthday. See here again, this birthday method is defined where? In the base class, their grandparent class. So what is happening over here, that you are creating an object of salesperson, which inherited, salesperson inherited employee class, and employee class inherited person class. So that's the reason it is accessing the birthday class, and here the birthday is not being defined, you can see here, but you are able to access the birthday class. Why is it so? This is because of inheritance. So if you are inheriting any class, so their method is accessible. So now here we have accessed the birthday class. Now moving further, now we are going to write it again. We will copy it and we will leverage this, and here we need to change that the object s, and this time we need to print the bonus as well, as dot bonus. This time pass it as dot bonus. Now we have created object for all the three classes which we have created earlier. Now let's run it. So to run it, what you need to do, you need to select and shift enter. So you have created all these three classes. Now we will create the objects. So to create that, we will select all this thing and we will run it. So here I have done a mistake. It is sales over here and I have used sales. Sorry for that. So we will select this one again, run it, and now again we will select all this thing and we will run it. So see here, we have person class and which is of type person. We have employee class, which is what is happening over here, that we need to little bit format it. P dot name here is and here P dot age, so it will look more meaningful. Now you will run it over here again. So see here, so what it is telling, that we have created a person object of this class, then we have created a employee object and that is being inherited the person class, and here we are initializing the constructor, initializing the object by passing the values to the constructor, and then we are creating a salesperson object, and here again we are passing the value to the person class. These are the value we are passing to the super class that is going to initialize the person class, as person class is inherited by employee class and employee class is inherited by salesperson class, and here we are initializing all these values. So this is the thing, or this is the way we can play with inheritance. So this is what I wanted to show you in this demo. If you have any question, you can drop me your question at my Twitter handle. I will answer it. See you in the next session. Till then, bye bye.